Hey class, this is going to be a short overview of 5.2 natural selection. I'm just going to highlight a few of the main topics in this section. This picture is a great summary of natural selection. Yum, green beetles, our favorite. And we'll get back to this at the end, but this is a nice overview showing variation, overproduction, selection, and adaptation in this gene pool of beetles. So what is natural selection? It's the mechanism for evolution. It's how evolution happens. And what we're talking about is evolution in the gene pool of a species. It's the chain in a population's gene pool. There should be an apostrophe S right here. Okay, so there's four things that we need in order for natural selection to occur: variation, overproduction, selection, and adaptation. So I'm wondering if you can come up with a mnemonic device to remember these. VOSA. We need a sentence to help us remember these four letters. So the first one is variation. All that means that there's a variety of traits within a population. All of these organisms, these populations, they're not exactly the same. They're not clones of each other. Even if it's hard to detect. And some of these adaptations might not be physical. They could also be behavioral as well. So where does this variation come from? There's three sources: mutations in DNA. Most mutations that occur are benign. They don't negatively or positively affect an organism. But occasionally, a mutation can lead to an advantageous trait. Second is meiosis. During the production of sperm and egg cells, the process is called meiosis. All sperm and egg cells are genetically unique. And that unique set of genes is caused by two things. One is crossing over, and the other is independent assortment in meiosis 1, if you remember from that section of our class. And then the third source of variation is sexual reproduction. You have two unique parents and their genes get mixed, leading to many more different outcomes, different mixtures of genetic information. Second, we have overproduction, competition. So not all the offspring that are born are going to survive in a generation. When there's many that are produced, that leads to competition. All of them are going to be fighting for survival. There's this phrase, survival of the fittest. It refers to the struggle to survive. But in evolution, fitness doesn't mean like how strong you are. It refers to your ability to live long enough to reach reproductive age and then successfully reproduce. So survival of the fittest is not necessarily about strength. It's about the ability to reproduce successfully. Okay, so we have two so far we've covered: variation and overproduction. Third is selection. There are selective forces that will favor some organisms and eliminate others. Some of them, these beetles in this picture, are going to survive. Looks like the green ones are going to survive because they're camouflaged, and this dark green one or brown one here is going to get eaten by this critter. What is that, a gecko? Selection is not based on chance. It's not just random that this gecko is trying to eat this beetle. It's because of the traits. And there's a wide variety of selective forces in nature. It could be an organism's ability to fight off infection. It could be height. It could be strength. It could be quickness. It could be camouflage. It could be something else about its immune system. So there's many selective forces. And last, we have adaptation. And adaptation means that advantageous traits, which we'll call adaptations, are passed on to offspring. So the makeup of the gene pool is going to be affected over many generations. And these small changes accumulate, resulting in different adaptations, as you can see in this picture of all these different bird beaks. Okay, so those are the four: variation, overproduction, and competition. Overproduction leads to competition. Selection and then adaptations that are passed on to offspring. So we'll go back to our original picture. So this raven here prefers the green beetles, and you can look at the gene pool. Generations later, the gene pool has more orange, red beetles than green ones, and then generations later, they've been completely wiped out, the green ones. So the evolution of this is because there's variety, overproduction, leading to competition or avoiding getting eaten, selection by the raven, and then adaptation as the trait for orange color is passed on from generation to generation. Oh, it's saying brown. Looks orange to me. So that's the summary of the major kind of key points to natural selection. And then I have two cartoons here to finish. We start with the natural selection process in golf with the apparently floating golf ball. And I like this one a lot. Natural selection in action. So this would be a good little quiz question. Apply the 4 steps of natural selection to this cartoon. Okay, that's it. Thanks for asking. There's definitely more supplementary information in your text, but those are the key pieces.